Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on Wager Talk TV with your college football top 25 video for week 11 this Saturday, November the 12th. Hey, by the way, if you're catching us on Friday night when this video goes live, happy Veterans Day. We always have a flag on hand, but I brought out the big boy for this Friday. This video goes live every Friday night. So once again, all the veterans watching right now, we appreciate your support, appreciate your service, of course. And do me a favor, comment below if you are a veteran. I want to give you an extra special thanks in the comments section below. Once again, this top 25 video goes live every Friday night. The NFL Fade the Public video will be this Saturday afternoon as always. Hit subscribe and hit that bell for instant alerts to know when these videos go live so you can be the first to watch and take advantage of all this actionable info. You know, last week we had 4 top 25 games here, including the biggest game of the year, Georgia, Tennessee. I gave you Georgia for free on this video. Also had a strong best bet. Gave you NC State here over Wake. That was also a strong best bet. So, you know, sometimes these are official best bets. Sometimes they're not. What I'm going to do in this video, as always, is give you my math simulation, 10,000 database simulations, and it's the average outcome for each game. So that's my power rating. I'm also going to give you the matchup analysis and let you know where I do think there's some value this week in college football. Quick reminder, this is a great time of the year to be an all-access, all-sports client right now at wagertalk.com. 4 major sports going on basically a daily basis. We get college and pro football almost every day of the week now, college and pro basketball every day of the week. Get all 4 right now. Get a 3-day all-access for just $44. That's less than $15 a day, but you got to have a special promo code, FBALL3. FBALL3 gets you 3 days and nights of every best bet, every sport for just $44. Normally it's $59. That's an instant $15 discount. It's a pretty good savings, and it gets it down to $44. One best bet alone is $25. A 5% play is $35. You're getting every play for 3 days and nights for just $44 complete, but you got to use that promo code FBALL3. It's available right now. Steve Merril, wagertalk.com. All right, let's start with the first game on the board this week in start time order. Going to look at the first top 25 matchup, and that's an SEC game. Number 9, Alabama at number 11, Ole Miss, Mississippi, 3:30 Eastern on CBS. My power ratings, my math simulation favors Alabama by just 9 points in this game. So the current line is a bit too high as we head into the weekend. Currently, right now, we're seeing Bama about a 12-point favorite. I do see a few 11.5s out there. So I like Ole Miss in this game. And there's a couple more reasons, despite just line value, that I like Ole Miss. First of all, you got to wonder about Alabama's mindset. This is a team that's now 7-2 on the season. Keep in mind, they had national title hopes, to say the least, when the season began. Even with the one loss a few weeks ago against Tennessee, they knew the season wasn't over. And when Tennessee was number 1 in the country last week in the playoff rankings, Alabama knew that loss wasn't going to hurt them. But they couldn't get it done at LSU last week, and they lost outright as almost a 2-touchdown favorite. Now they're on the road once again, where they've continued to struggle this season. Keep in mind, they're just 2-2 straight up, 1-3 against the spread in their 4 road games. They had a narrow win at Texas, 20-19, and then they lost at Tennessee and LSU. So they could lose this game outright. I think Ole Miss is actually worth a slight look on the money line, even, especially if Alabama comes in flat. Also, keep in mind, Ole Miss is an explosive offensive team, and they're also 8-1 straight up, a good team this year. It's only lost 1 game all season, and that was against LSU, the same team Alabama lost to. Ole Miss lost on the road to them a few weeks ago. I had a best bet there on LSU in that game. LSU, an underrated team, by the way, this season. I also think that the running game could be the difference here. Ole Miss averaging 267 rushing yards per game, 5.6 yards per carry. That's actually ahead of Alabama, averages just 204 rushing yards. So we get a live dog, to say the least, catching almost 2 touchdowns in what could be a flat spot for Alabama, and there's line value. Ole Miss is worth a look at plus 12 on Saturday afternoon. Next game goes on Saturday, also at 3:30 Eastern, and this is an unusual top 25 matchup. We haven't talked about either one of these teams all season here in the top 25 video. You know, we talk a lot about Alabama and Ole Miss almost every week. The SEC games are top 25 matchups, but Central Florida, number 22 Central Florida at number 17 Tulane. And by the way, I'm using the playoff rankings, which came out for the first time last week. So these two teams are in the playoff top 25 right now. Number 22 Central Florida at number 17 Tulane. That's on ESPN2 at 3:30 Eastern on Saturday afternoon. First of all, let's look at the point spread on this game. It opened pretty much Tulane 1.5, and it's pretty much held 1.5 all week long. So not much movement here. Tulane a slight home favorite. We have seen some money come in on the over. Open 51.5. It's up to 54. Let's look at my database simulation. Once again, 10,000 game simulations, and my database has this game at a pick'em. Actually, Tulane by 0.2, by half a point basically. So The line is maybe a little bit high, 1.2 high, not enough to really jump on either side here. Tulane on the season, 8-1. Their only loss was against Southern Miss at home as a 12-point favorite, a bad loss. Otherwise, they would be undefeated right now. But they bounced back after that loss, to say the least. 5 straight wins, and more importantly, 5 straight point spread covers the last 5 games heading into this one. Also had the bye week a couple games ago after Memphis, so they should be pretty fresh still after winning at Tulsa last week. Meanwhile, Central Florida, they lost to East Carolina a few weeks ago as a 6-point road favorite. That was their second loss in the season. They're 7-2, 6-3 against the number. By the way, Tulane 8-1 straight up, also 8-1 against the spread. The most profitable team in college football. But once again, my math model shows this line is about a point too high now. So it does look like the odds makers and the betting public have finally caught on to how good Tulane has been this season. Central Florida off back-to-back wins straight up and against the spread coming into this game. Should be a pretty even matchup. Both the point spread and my power ratings say that. As far as the matchup itself, it does look like Central Florida has the rush edge, averaged over a yard per rush more per game this year. Both teams throw for exactly 8.5 yards per pass, and Central Florida averages almost a half yard per play more. Tulane does have the defensive edge. We get the better offense with Central Florida, slightly better overall team, I think. Tulane, the slight defensive edge. And this game, pretty much all my power ratings, once again, right around that 1-point line. So not a huge edge either way, but we did see some sharp money coming on the over this week for what it's worth. All right, 2 more games on the top 25 board. Also going to give you one that just missed the cut as a bonus play at the end of the video. Both games are night games for Saturday night. Going to get to those in a moment, but a quick reminder, 4 major sports going right now. College football, pro football, and then, of course, NBA and college basketball every single day. What a great time to try out All Sports All Access membership. If you want to try it out for this weekend, I have a great 3-day offer. It's a great way to sample it for all you new viewers, you first-timers out there, and even those of you that have been with me for a while, if you want to get back on board or want to play this weekend, 3-day All Access right now for just $44. That's a fantastic offer. It's normally $59, instant $15 discount when you use promo code FBALL3, FBALL3. Go to my page, Steve Merril, wagertalk.com. Click on that $59 3-day all access, but enter the promo code FBALL3. You get it down instantly to $44 at checkout. Do the math. That works out to less than $15 per day, not per play, per day for every sport, every day and night. Normally one game is $25, a 5% play is $35. You're getting every play for less than $15 a day. That's every football and basketball, college and pro. Do it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but you got to do it now because this offer ends on Monday. So take advantage right now. Steve Merril, wagertalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut code WT.buzz/SM. All right, 2 more top 25 head-to-head matchups for Week 11 this Saturday night, November the 12th. Pac-12, number 25, Washington, barely in the playoff rankings after 3 to 4 teams fell out last week. Number 6, Oregon, though, not only in the rankings, but a good chance at a playoff berth. And they host this game at 7 Eastern on Fox. We're going to talk about the TCU-Texas game right after this one. You know, if TCU, who's in there as a number 4 seed right now, drops this week as a dog, Oregon very well could sneak into that top 4. We'll have to see how it plays out. At worst, they'd be up to number 5 most likely. And keep in mind, Michigan and Ohio State are both top 3 right now. They play each other in a few weeks, so one of them will have a loss. Oregon has a very good shot still at the national title and at the playoffs. And we'll see how they do this week. This is a current situation in which that one loss against Georgia, keep in mind that came way back in week 1. Yes, they got blown out by over 40 points. But in hindsight, that's not looking too bad, as Georgia is definitely looking like the best team in the country after taking care of business against number 1 Tennessee last week. So Oregon is alive. If they win out here, I think they probably make the playoffs, as they will get into that top 4. And my power ratings, my math model does project them to win this game, as it makes them almost a 16.5-point favorite. And that is a substantial number considering the current point spread on this is less than 2 touchdowns. 16.2 is the exact database simulation on this game. And as we head into the weekend, this line is 13.5 is where it opened. It hasn't moved much all week. I have seen a few 14s out there, though, as we get closer to Saturday. So if you like Oregon, I would jump in probably now on the 13. I'm sorry, Oregon. I was looking at the game above it. Oregon State's 13.5, 14. Look at the live odds screen right now, by the way, at wagertalk.com. Oregon is open 12.5, 13. So this looks like it's going to stay below that key number of 14 this weekend. I even see a 12.5 at one of the sharper international books. But once again, I do think this line is too low. My projected math model is 16.5. So 13 or less where the line currently is. Oregon does have some value. The question is, can they get it done and win by more than 2 touchdowns? They've been a point spread machine. 5 straight wins and covers. The last 5 games, they've covered every one of them. Washington, meanwhile, has failed to cover 5 straight, despite winning the last 3 games straight up. They were a touchdown favorite or more in 3 of their last 4 games. So this is a huge step up in class. In fact, Washington hasn't been a dog in the past 2 months. So they go from being favored in every game the past couple months now a 2-touchdown dog. I think that's a difficult scenario. Oregon is in great form, and normally you would say you're going to lose value, but once again, my simulation has Oregon winning by over 16, so the current line of minus 13 is actually some value here for one of the hottest point spread teams in the country. They throw the ball extremely well, nearly 9 yards per pass. The concern here, of course, as is always the concern with a good offensive team like Washington, is that backdoor cover potential. They're averaging almost 39 points a game, 6.5 yards per play, and most importantly, they average over 8 yards per pass. Oregon has had a very mediocre pass defense this year. Their run defense has been stronger. Washington's strength is passing. So although there is some line value, I think the matchup somewhat favors Washington. It also gives them backdoor covered potential. So something to be careful with if you're looking at this game on Saturday night. By the way, the total in the low 70 range, it's moved up a bit this week. Opened 69.5 up to 72.5. So we have seen some money on the over, and that makes sense once again as Washington's pass offense matches up well against Oregon's weakness on defense. We saw Georgia, of course, put up, 49 points back in week 1 on Oregon. Last head-to-head top 25 matchup for week 11 this Saturday night, November the 12th, is in the Big 12. Number 4 ranked TCU, and that's a surprise to a lot of people to see TCU there. But hey, look, they've done what they've had to. They've gone 9-0 so far this season. But I think that most likely ends this week against Texas, who's not ranked nearly as high. Texas is only ranked 18th, but they're a touchdown favorite in this game. This one, by the way, it's 7:30 Eastern on ABC. As we head into the weekend, Texas is currently about a 7.5-point favorite in most spots. It was 7 earlier in the week, so it's crossed over that key number. Keep in mind, last week, Tennessee was the number 1 ranked team in the playoff rankings, and they were more than a touchdown dog against Georgia, and they lost by double digits. So I think, once again, the committee does not have it right here. Texas Christian does not deserve to be a top 4 team. In fact, a lot of power ratings do not even have them in the top 15, including my power ratings. Let's go to the math, though, and see how this one plays out in the database. 10-point win by Texas. So once again, my math simulation of 10,000 games has Texas on average winning by 10 points or more over half the time. So TCU will pick up a loss most likely this week, and that'll move them out of the playoff picture. And that's why a team like Oregon has such an important game this week. And some other teams that are kind of on the outskirts do have a good chance of sneaking in. And just for the rankings here real quick, the playoff rankings this week, Georgia is 1, solid 1 after last week. They moved from 3 up to 1 after beating Tennessee. Tennessee dropped from 1 down to 5. Ohio State and Michigan, 2-3. They, of course, play in a week or so. Tennessee most likely will jump to 4, but if Oregon has a real impressive win, you never know. Maybe they pass Tennessee. And then we got LSU at 7. They were 10 last week. USC at 8. Bama falls from 6 down to 9. Clemson really falls. They go from 4 in the playoffs down to 10 after losing that Notre Dame. Let's look at this game from a matchup perspective with Texas real quick. Once again, my math favors them. That's my preferred side in this game. But TCU, once again, like Washington in the last game, they do have some backdoor cover potential. 9.5 yards per pass, 43 points per game. So that would be the big concern here, is that Texas could be up late by, say, 14, 13, 14 points, give up that garbage touchdown. But the Longhorns are an explosive offense also. 36 points a game, 6.5 yards per play. And I don't think they're going to take their foot off the gas against an undefeated top 4 team here in TCU. So this is going to be a tough one for the Horned Frogs. Looks like a good setup for Texas, who had their bye just 2 weeks ago. Their bye came after the Oklahoma State loss, which was their 3rd of the season. But they came out strong against Kansas State last week. They won and covered by 7 on the road. That's the bye sign. They're still playing hard, and we get some value with them now at minus 7.5. 7 was nicer. 7.5 still has some value, as my simulation predicts a 10-point win for the Texas Longhorns. All right, those are the 4 top 25 head-to-head games. There's one other game that was just a bit outside from making the cut. I know baseball's over, but I had to work that in still. And that's a game between North Carolina and Wake Forest. Now, North Carolina is still ranked number 15 in the playoff rankings. Wake Forest was ranked last week. In fact, they were number 21, and they, of course, played NC State. I recommended NC State here on the video, used them as a best bet for my clients as well. And this is a situation now in which Wake Forest is no longer ranked. North Carolina is. I wanted to bring this up real quick because I did 2 previews for this game earlier this week here on Wager Talk TV. We did a standalone video, myself, Kevin Dolan, and Joe Ranieri earlier this week. So check that one out here. Just search for it here on Wager Talk TV on YouTube. And also check out the Tuesday College Football Show, because I talked in depth as well with the crew on this game on that show. What I mentioned in both of them is I think the over is worth a look. Okay, so I'll give that out here again in case you missed those episodes. But if you want some in-depth analysis on the over, check that out on Wager Talk TV here on YouTube. Also download the TV app, Wager Talk TV app for your favorite mobile device. Last 2 years, these two teams have combined for over 112 and 113 points. The high 70s, this total is high for a reason. They can't set these totals high enough. Opened 76.5. As we head into the weekend, it's 78, even some 78 and some halves. What's interesting, and Ralph Michaels pulled this up for me when we were doing the show Tuesday, when the total gets up to 81, and I don't think this one will, blindly playing the over has been a 61% play over the past couple of decades. So the point is, when they have these high totals, the public shies away normally, and you actually get some value because they're not high enough. And we've seen that the last 2 years as these teams have put up 112 and 113 combined points. Both defenses are at a disadvantage this week. Wake has only scored 21 the last two games. They put up a lot of points the 2 weeks before that, over 80 combined, but they've had 8 turnovers the last 2 games. That's not going to happen again this week because North Carolina has forced 1 turnover only in 5 of their last 6 games. So I look for Wake Forest to get back on track defensively. North Carolina's been bad defensively, good offensively all year. This one gets into the 80s. I mentioned on some other shows. So a little bonus content, a free total play. I know a lot of you like totals out there. We don't talk a lot about them here in the video. So a game that's just a bit outside from being top 25. Wake was a top 25 team last week, no longer, but I think the over is worth a look between North Carolina and Wake Forest. By the way, that game goes at 7:30 Eastern Saturday night on ESPN2. All right, 5 games here for you in college football this week. You're free on this video. If you found it useful, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, a like, and leave me a comment below. I love the comments. I want to hear from all the veterans out there. Once again, thank you for your support. Happy Veterans Day on Friday and into this weekend. And let me know your thoughts on these top 25 games. Where you agree or disagree with the math model, the projections, the computer database. Also, what other games, some under-the-radar games that you're looking at this week in college football. Don't forget also to check back Saturday afternoon. I'll have my NFL Fade the Public video here on the channel. If you want an instant alert when it goes live, hit subscribe and hit that bell for an instant alert. And most importantly, make some money this weekend with that 3-day All Sports Access special. $44 gets it done for 3 days and nights. Every college and pro football, college and pro basketball play for the next 3 days and nights. And you get it for a very special price, just $44 when you use promo code FBALL3. FBALL3 gets you 3 days and nights of all sports for just $44. Steve Merril, wagertalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut code WT.buzz/SM. Also post additional free information on Twitter every day at Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L, at Steve Merril on Twitter. And check back this weekend for the NFL Fade the Public video right here on Wager Talk TV. Best of luck. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the games this weekend, and I'll talk to you again soon.